Sure. All right. Hi. Good to see everyone. So I'm Katie Wester-Neal, if we haven't met yet, and I serve on the board of the MECP2 Duplication Foundation. But most importantly, I am the mom of, oh, no. Hey, there we go. That's my Charlie. You've already seen him a little bit today. And he's 9 years old and has MECP2 duplication syndrome. So you all should have a copy of this overview that looks like this. And this is a resource that we produced for the families and from the new Global MECP2 Duplication Alliance. So you'll see I have a big X in the middle here because, here we go. All right, so it's correct up here. There was an error going to the printer. So what's on your handout is not the same as what's up here. So I'll talk through it, but I just wanted you to know in case you wanted to copy it through. All right, so now that we have that settled, it is really amazing what's been shared today. Developing a treatment, especially for a rare disease like ours, we all know it's a long and complex journey. But thinking about where we have been and where we want to go, our goal today is to understand the steps involved in turning a scientific idea into a safe and effective treatment. So, getting to an approved drug that can help our kids involves, as you can see, 5 major stages, each of which plays a critical role in the process. So if you wonder what's in the works, I'm going to give a brief summary about the projects in these different stages as we go along, with more information in Dr. Pehlivan's part of the presentation. You might also be thinking, you've heard a little bit about it today, what does this mean for me and my child? Hopefully you will see yourself in this process where you might get involved, now or in the future. So we're going to start all the way over here on the left at discovery. That is where the journey begins. And in this time, scientists are working on initial concept validation, which means testing early ideas to see if they're feasible and have the potential to work as intended. This stage lays a foundation for all of these other steps that follow, and not all ideas make the move forward. It's really exciting, though, in MECP2 duplication, there's currently early research on something called Important Alpha-5. It's developed by CNRS in France, and Importans are involved in the brain in transporting proteins like MECP2, so these studies are focused on restoring that balance in MECP2 in neurons. All right, then we would move on to the second stage, and that's preclinical research. So here we have extensive laboratory and animal research conducted. You heard a little bit about that earlier today, and you're looking at safety and efficacy and optimal dosing a lot in animals. And so right now there are 2 current preclinical efforts. There are CRISPR-Cas9 studies, which aim to correct the duplicated gene by deleting the extra copy. And then there are siRNA-based approaches designed to selectively silence extra MECP2 copies. It destroys mRNA to prevent excess protein production. So before a treatment can ever be tested in humans, it has to pass rigorous safety and performance evaluations in animals in this stage. You've heard so much about safety, but even before there's an agreement to use it in humans, a lot of safety testing has been done. That's usually in mice first and monkeys second, gives us really good data to go forward and make sure that this is safe to put into our children. So once preclinical results look promising, then the therapy can move into humans. And like I said, that's where the misprint is on your handout. It's correct up here, though. It's research done in people. So clinical research is looking at the ways a drug interacts in the human body. And to reach the goal of the improved treatment, which is where we all want to go, a clinical trial is looking at 2 key indicators. They're looking at, is it safe and is it effective? Trials are divided into phases 1 through 4. That's on the back, though, so just hold on for that one. We'll explore that in just a little bit. But not all treatments advance from this preclinical stage into human testing, and not all treatments that go to clinical research that are in a trial then advance to become approved. So actually, more fail than advance and become approved, and that's because it's really an experiment. And so there's also, around that experiment, a lot more that needs to be done. So I'm really happy that everybody got to hear about RheumEDs today. Even, like they said, even if you've done a registry in the past, this is the new registry, this is the registry in the future, and it's the one that is going to get us where we need to go with all of these projects that are ongoing right now. So truly, if you have not signed up yet, it really is very easy. It's like very quick to sign up. And you can also connect with your local global alliance organization who is going to be sharing opportunities to help move things forward. Eventually there will be a centralized website and social media so that you can just go to the global alliance and you can see all the new projects, all the new things that are coming up that we need the community's participation in order for this to go forward. You're also going to hear in just a few minutes about the ICD-10 process, and that is another thing that is going to be really important. We need a lot of community support for that to go forward, and that really supports this clinical research process as well. So for MECP2 duplication syndrome, there are 2 clinical trials underway right now. The one is the ASO from Ionis, which you've heard about, currently in a phase 1/2 under the ATTUNE trial. And then there's also this CRISPR-Cas13 therapy, which is sponsored by Hutagene Therapeutics, and they have theirs is called the HERO trial. It's underway in China right now in a phase 1/2, and then the company has already laid groundwork with regulators in the US to expand there. At the end of the clinical research stage, all this data that comes out of the trial is going to be submitted to health regulatory agencies such as the FDA or MHRA for their review. And then the regulators consider the data and decide whether the potential benefits of a treatment outweigh the risks. Then they can approve it for use in the clinic. That's when it turns over. You heard in Christine's presentation earlier that Ion 440 is only available in the trial. And so that's when it would turn, though. All this data has to be collected, the trial needs to be complete, and then clinicians can prescribe a treatment. That is not, however, the end of the journey. As you see up here, there's regulatory or post-monitoring approval. So even after the therapy reaches the market, right there at the end, you see the process continues. And in this stage, researchers and regulators continue to track long-term outcomes in patients who are using the treatment. So look at the treatment that we're talking about with Ion 440, right? You're in the part 1 is about 9 months. The long-term extension will go several years, perhaps after that. And then even if it goes to the next phase and gets approved, even after that, regulators still want to see, are these treatment guidelines still working for patients? They want to look at safety. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we flip the page. So let's go ahead and do that. If you look on the back, we have a little bit more digging into that clinical research because, like you heard, we're in a phase 1/2 right now with the ASO trial, and then it will move through, hopefully, we all hope that it will move into a phase 3 and then that phase 4 with the monitoring. So this is where therapies are actually tested in people and where many of us hope to participate. So in many trials, you've heard phases 1 and 2 are usually separate, but in rare diseases, there are small patient populations, so they're often combined, as in the ATTUNE and the HERO trials. This approach has several advantages. So it reduces the time needed to recruit and enroll participants. So it condenses things, right? And then hopefully that means that you can move to a phase 3 more quickly, which is, I'm sure, what we all want. So safety, tolerability, and early efficacy are really key goals here. And in rare diseases like MECP2 duplication syndrome, I know we have seen phase 1/2 trials are usually not very large. And that feels like, that's not a good thing when so many families want to try a potential treatment. But really early on, a lot of the focus is on safety. And there's good news that the number of trial participants, if a trial expands to a phase 3, that's exactly what it means. Expansion means a lot of times more families are invited to participate. They need more participants in a phase 3. So that phase 3, if the phase 1 true trial is successful, is really looking at a couple goals. So how effectively can a drug treat or manage a disease? And then 2, you want to confirm those results seen in the earlier phases, but in that larger group of participants. So they haven't left safety behind. Safety is coming the whole way through this process. When a phase 3 trial, you may have heard the word pivotal at some point today, but when it's called registrational or pivotal, it usually means that the sponsor and regulators believe there will be enough data to file an application for an NDA, for a new drug approval, once that study is completed. So registrational or pivotal might become your favorite words. Hopefully that's what we all, right? That's what we all want. All right, so yes. To consider approval, then all that data from the phases 1 through 3 are going to be reviewed by regulatory authorities. That's going to happen in different countries. And this is that turning point that I was talking about, where the potential therapy goes from trial only to you can go to your local doctor and talk about, is it right to prescribe that new drug to your child? So finally, phase 4 is up here, and that is post-market surveillance or monitoring. That can be years afterwards. You may be asked, if you've gone through other phases, you may be asked to take part in researchers following a group of patients, collecting data on things, like I said, long-term safety, optimal dosing that might need to be adjusted at times, and you would need long-term follow-up to know that, real-world benefits, and then over time, do any unusual side effects pop up? So they don't know that in the earlier trial. They need a longer term to look at that. So as you have seen, each step really builds on the one before it, but none of it can happen without all of you in the community. Anybody who's watching this later, your help really is needed. So whether it's in remeds, whether you're looking into joining the trial, whether there are future surveys that come out, all these surveys, whenever Dr. Pehlivan or any of the researchers send out a survey, if you're eligible, it is really critical if you can take part. It's really helpful. So you can also participate in this ICD-10 process, which is also going to help get us really where we need to go in terms of treatments. So I think a lot of people have already checked out the information on the tables outside. You can connect with any of these global MECP2 Duplication Alliance organizations. We have reliable information that will help you get involved, and every opportunity that you can take to join in brings us closer to a treatment that makes a meaningful difference for our kids. So the journey of developing treatment for MECP2, as we've discussed, starts with this idea in a lab, and it continues even after a therapy is approved. I am confident that there are many more breakthroughs to come, and our community is the key to making that happen. So if you want more information about clinical trials generally, we're really excited to announce here for the first time that the handout that you received grew out of work by the MECP2 Duplication Foundation, this new guide to clinical trials. So we'll be offering that soon through our socials and our website, so please stay tuned. We're really excited to share it. It's just about ready. And along with our other guides shown here, we have other resources available for families if that's helpful. So I want to thank everyone who helped us make this progress possible. This is just an amazing place to be. If you've been in the community for a long time, this is a really hopeful and exciting time. And now it is my honor to turn it over to Dr. Pehlivan, and he's going to dig deeper and tell us some more about this.